Welcome back to the Hal Sparks radio program, Mega Worldwide.
So this is just one of those weeks where just like billionaires and former billionaires and fake billionaires just lose their minds. Is that what it is? Is that what the horoscope said? Like if your star sign is billionaire, it's just like this week you'll be losing your crap. Trump takes to Truth Social. By the way, you want to know how well the appointment of Jack White is going? Let's
like
take
Seven
a little
Nation Army.
Yes, different guy. Take a little trip with me, if you will.
Let's go.
Inside it's like the land of make believe, where Mr. McFeely hops on the train with us and takes us to what was the woman on Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood who lived in basically the LA Forum with the apple face.
Oh.
She's just scared the crap. Yes. She scared the crap out of me when
All right, come on, chat.
So, all right. Yeah, they'll pop in. They'll tell us. Our country is sick inside, very much like a person dying of cancer. The crooked FBI, the
Lady
so-called
Elaine.
Lady Elaine. No.
Yeah.
No.
No?
Lady Elaine was the living woman, wasn't it?
Oh, Madam.
Madam, yes. No, that's Waylon Flowers' character. Waylon Flowers and Madam. She looked the same though. She had the same
Lady
kind of.
Elaine Fairchild. They're saying the one with the red nose, the scary one, was Lady Elaine Fairchild.
I don't think so. Isn't that the hippie chick who hung around?
The actual person,
the actual live woman who was there.
Googling.
All right, it's going to drive me crazy. All right, our country is sick inside, all caps, sick. Very much like a person dying of cancer.
Lady Elaine. Sorry, yeah.
All right. Thank you.
Scary one. Yeah.
Yikes. Okay. The crooked FBI, the so-called Department of Justice and Intelligence, Department of Intelligence, like he's got them both in quotes.
That's not happening.
All parts of the Democrat Party and system is the cancer.
Oh,
that's a lot of cancer. That's a lot of different kinds of cancer. These weaponized thugs and tyrants must be dealt with, or our once great and beautiful country will die.
What on earth?
I know. Like
now he's what, Nostradamus?
Well, and I mean, obviously, like even a charitable reading of that is he's calling for the abject murder of just anybody in any of those groups because they are a cancer. You're not murdering.
It sounds like a threat.
You're just committing an act of chemo. Isn't that lovely?
An act of chemo.
Thanks. Never mind the fact, by the way, that no one cares. Like this is not his entire feed is full of QAnon memes. There is not a single legit person in that entire feed that's going to do a damn thing anywhere other than pop off and do themselves in or something. And it's terrible that he'll push his own people to do this kind of crap, but it's not amounting to a hill of beans. That said, we've been watching this whole, some of us have, watching this whole Twitter files nonsense come out. And it has been, not to put too fine a point on it, lame AF. None of it is landing in any meaningful sense. All of it is a smokescreen for the fact that the Trump administration was asking for the very same things that everybody was like, we think these accounts are violating the Twitter terms of service. And they're like, yep, we think they are too. So we cut them off, or no, they're not. So we just left them. That was the response they were getting from Twitter. Law enforcement was calling them and saying, this seems like a violation of your terms of service. And these seem, to be fomenting violence or election fraud. And they're like, yeah, we think so. Or, nah, we didn't think so. So we left it up. That's it. That's the whole thing. That's what it all amounts to. And there's so much I believe and I feel, and it's very disappointing or it's very concerning. All that kind of language about these things when the material reality around them is nothing. There's a lot of conversation around it if you read the, like how Barry Weiss, how Matt Taibbi and others talk about this stuff, they use very clickbaity language, where it's like, and then everybody cuts off the part where they say, if true, ... Look, you have access to all of the internal conversations, all of them, every single one. So everything you show better be a smoking gun, or why do we care? Right? I mean, this is like the Rudy Giuliani, Hunter Biden laptop story nonsense, where he shows this stuff up like text messages with no metadata that are visible printouts of something that, nobody could fake in Photoshop. He holds them up in front of the screen instead of putting them up on screen, doesn't allow you to source them. And then they have this like, maybe you won't have to give half your money to dad, like that kind of stuff. Like interfamily complaints from an addict about his parents basically socking away half his money so that he doesn't snort it all. Right? That is supposed to be evidence of a crime. And it isn't. It just isn't. And there's so much of this about this that could be inflammatory and kind of titillating and exciting and, oh my God, the stuff behind the scenes. When in reality, the only way it gets even passably close to any kind of a scandal is when they actively choose to show one side of the conversation and hide the other without Elon Musk hand-holding Matt Taibbi and Barry Weiss through this whole thing and saying, here's the Slack conversations you can show, here's the ones you can't, which is the problem in the first place. The whole goal of this is to create the illusion of unfairness. And it wouldn't be that big a deal if it didn't endanger the lives of people who work at Twitter and at the Department of Justice and every other place that Trump has decided to describe everyone as cancer. So they describe in the new one, and you see this quote all the time, Twitter files Part 6, reveal FBI's ties to tech giant, as if it were a subsidiary. That's on Fox News, that's in quotes, as if it were a subsidiary. Okay, well, where does that quote come from? As if it were a subsidiary. That's Matt Taibbi's opinion from the first tweet from the second or the sixth round of the Twitter files. It is not borne out at all in what he lays out in the following tweets. There's literally nothing that says they were a subsidiary to it any more than if Coca-Cola contacted someone and said, hey, there's a fake Coke account that's saying we have arsenic in our product. Could you please take it down? And that makes Twitter an automatic subsidiary of Coca-Cola. It's like they're playing on the infantile sort of technophobia of certain QAnon level nuts within the Republican Party, and then hiding behind a wall of, like I said, the illusion of unfairness that they are concocting on purpose. Meanwhile, there's an article I have up on the screen at infotainmentwars.com. And of course, you can subscribe there, like, subscribe, give a thumbs up, support the show, helps us out. Patreon.com/HalSpark keeps us on the air. So give that a shot also. And there's an article in Bloomberg that Elon Musk is seeking new Twitter investors to join him. And he's trying to get them to pay the same price he paid for all of the stock. Why?
That's not good.
How does that make any sense to anyone? Elon Musk is seeking new investors for Twitter Incorporated at $54.20 a share, same price he paid when he took the company private for $44 billion in October and kicked off a contentious overhaul. The managing director of the billionaire's family office, Jared Birchall, has been reaching out to potential backers this week News site Semaphore reported on Friday. Ross Gerber, who runs Gerber Kawasaki Wealth and Investment Management and took part in the earlier Twitter buyout, confirmed the outreach. The fundraising attempt follows a tumultuous stretch of Twitter where Musk has slashed jobs, upended longstanding policy, and reinstated banned accounts. Just this week, the company suspended several journalists that Musk said had put his family in danger by revealing location information about his private plane. Now, Aaron Rupar and others are back online after being kicked off. And then, did you see this whole drama, Johnny Million?
I don't think so.
Okay, so there was an account called Elon Jet that took
I heard about this, where he was tracking the private jet.
Yes. He also was tracking Bezos's jet and a couple others. There's one that does Putin's plane. There's, they've been around for a long time. They're online, and they all have accounts on all social medias. They're on Facebook and everything. And for some reason, Elon Musk, in his hyper paranoia, largely brought about by his mixing of weed he can't handle and nootropics at the same time, and decaffeinated Diet Coke, which is a terrible chemical mix for any human being and will give you marshmallow body. If you don't believe me, go look up pictures of Elon Musk swimming. And
he looks amazing.
Oh, yeah. So
I might have tweeted one of his pictures recently.
Don't do that. You'll get put in Twitter jail. You'll get put in Twitmo.
I'm hoping.
Right.
Twitmo.
Give you. Well, that's what Tara Dublin Rocks called it. She got put in Twitmo for a week. She gets out tomorrow. Now, let's start with the fact that it's not worth $54 a share at all. Let's also start with the fact that since he bought Twitter, Tesla stock has lost enough money to buy Twitter 6 times. Elon Musk sold $3 billion worth of Tesla stock earlier this week, largely just to cover overhead at both companies, to keep them from going under, to artificially inflate the stock by, giving it to other people to buy on his behalf. Among other things. It's just garbage. It's just, absurd. The important thing, to recognize here, is that this was never a richest guy in the world flat out buying it because he's just got money sitting around. He had to leverage Tesla stock to do it. In that process, the value of that stock cadavered, and it is not worth anywhere near what it used to be worth, and it's continuing to go down. Do you know how Tesla makes the majority of their money? Like the biggest single payday they get?
It's not car sales?
Nope. Try again. One more.
Car, like just marketing their name?
Nope. Selling carbon credits. You know that?
No.
Yeah. By the way, they get a giant dip from the federal government for selling carbon credits and from other companies. So big polluters get to buy carbon credits from Tesla, and all Tesla has to do is continue to crank out cars, even if no one buys them in China or other places, because they make more money from the carbon credits for cars that they may or may not even make. So, it's increasingly disappointing. Never mind the cars that catch fire and all that kind of stuff. And the fact that automated driving is not happening. Remember the Tesla cab that you were going to be able to at night when you go to sleep, your car was going to be able to roam the countryside, making you money. Right? That was in 2017. That was like a year and a half away. At least Elon Musk puts a 2-year cap on things instead of a 2-week cap like Trump. At least he's learned that lesson. But that's their primary moneymaker these days. Tesla is selling carbon credits to big polluters. Again, for cars that may or may not even make it to market eventually.
Unreal.
Yeah. And that guy, while his stock is tanking for that, which he used to leverage money and loans and partnerships with other people because, oh man, Tesla's stock's just going to the moon, man. On and on and on and up, up, up. By the way, Tesla and SpaceX don't exist without government contracts at all. Neither one of them could stand on their own, especially SpaceX, which is effectively a private NASA subsidiary, just like Lockheed Martin or any of the other companies that make stuff for NASA. It wouldn't exist. It's not this standalone private entity. You could argue that Blue Origin, the Bezos company at the very least, he's just doing it as a profit-making thing. Like, he's literally throwing these rockets up for the F of it, right? You know, in the same way that Richard Branson is shooting for something, you know, with his Virgin Galactic at some point. But in the case of SpaceX, that is a NASA contract. That is it's a giant NASA contract. And so the idea that this guy can be like a libertarian, anti-government control, free speech advocate who, by the way, bounces reporters from Twitter when they show where his plane lands, not where he is, unless he and his family sleep at the plane, which I doubt. Right? Who cares where the plane lands? That's readily available FAA data. You can track any plane that way. He kicked off the guy who did Elon Jet, but he did not kick off the Bezos one until people called him out on it. Then he started doing it, you know, to cover his butt. But so Aaron Rupar and several others got kicked off. This is all
just public information, but somebody's tweeting it.
Yeah. And Aaron Rupar and all these guys reported on the fact that not only had this guy been kicked off of Twitter, but his other accounts everywhere else were still up. They didn't violate kind of generic terms of service on other sites because nobody thinks they do. But in this particular case, because he owns Elon Musk, allegedly, and we'll have to, you know, again, it's when you look at the money and the story behind this stuff, it's harder and harder to buy, but no pun intended. But he kicked him off just because for personal reasons. He took it personally. And then he kicked off people for bringing it up and pointing out that these sites are still live on other sites, but it's somehow, you know, they crossed the line on his. He's not suing those other companies. And this is the telling part of it. This is how you know he's full of crap. He didn't sue Facebook to have Elon Jet taken down on Facebook because he thought it endangered his life. He just bounced it on Twitter because he felt like it was a power play. Yeah. Yeah. And so, anyways, all those guys came back in about 24 hours. He did a poll, and then the poll, like, reinstate them now, won the first poll, and then won the second poll by more. And so he finally brought them back. Also, if you'll notice, the Twitter files, one of the reasons why you haven't heard about them is because they dropped them late on a Friday. What do we know about news dumps late on Fridays?
Yeah, they're dropped that way so they go under the rug so nobody notices.
Exactly. So you know they exist maybe, but you didn't really dig into it because it's the weekend, man. He's counting on that. And that will be part of the ongoing part of this, is that it'll all be at buried hours of the day. They all come out late at night. They all come out at times when nobody's looking, and it's a waste of time. We got to take a break. We'll be back right after this. I raced past this break. We got to grab one. And then Philip Bittner will be joining us in the next hour. It's the Hal Sparks radio program, Mega Worldwide.
Due to budget and time constraints, all the creativity has been removed from the Hal Sparks radio program Mega Worldwide bumpers. Now welcome back to the Hal Sparks radio program Mega Worldwide.
Oh, yay. That's how I sound first thing in the morning.
Yeah. What a lovely singing voice you must have. Right now on Twitter, by the way, Christopher Wray, the FBI director, has responded to some of the nonsense around the Twitter files, which is garbage. It's silly. It's absurd. It's a bunch of goofy nonsense. Republicans need to grow the hell up. This on the one hand, they view the southern border as an invasion. And on the other hand, they want to play naive about foreign malign influence in our social media networks and in the press and stuff when Like, again, that goes all the way back to when CNN was just reading tweets on the air from random users with no idea where they were coming from. And yeah, remember that?
Like
remember
it was
back?
news.
Yeah. You're like, one of our viewers, who says they're a viewer, dummy? That's not how this works.
But
you
it's
don't know.
content.
Right, exactly. And look how hip we are, you know? So this morning, the FBI replies to Matt Taibbi. This was the FBI regularly engages with private sector entities to provide information specific to identified foreign malign influence actors' subversive, undeclared, covert, and criminal activities. Private sector entities independently make decisions about what, if any, action they take on their platforms and for their customers after the FBI has notified them, which is, by the way, exactly how the Twitter files read. Everything that Matt Taibbi and Barry Weiss are writing out about the FBI reaching out to Twitter about any of these things all reads out exactly that way. That is exactly what happens, because in some cases, Twitter decided to take people off the account, or certain accounts. I'm not even going to say they were people because we don't even know. And they're not even, they're bot accounts. The idea that they're even in the United States is an absurdity. You have no idea. They take these accounts down, or they take these articles down. And on the other hand, they leave them up. Sometimes they just go, nah, we're good. And they just leave it floating. That's exactly how it works. It's how it works with the police show up and say, we think this guy who has breakfast here every morning is dealing drugs in your corner booth. And we might have to bust him in front of the place. We don't want to come in here and, blame you. We're just letting you know we know that's what he's doing. And just be aware that we don't want to scare any of your customers when we take him down when he leaves. But you don't have to kick him out. You can. You can ask him to pay his check and get out right now. But you don't have to, because we'll bust him when he gets outside. Like, that happens all the time.
Sure.
And it's childish. It's infantile to assume otherwise. Why wouldn't you want the FBI to go, hey guys, we receive intercepts all the time from like drug cartels and terrorist organizations and foreign governments that are trying to wreck the United States. And you might want to know that they're using these accounts and these folks, and folks like this are being paid to do this. It's up to you if you want to take them down. We can't tell you what to do. That would be illegal. But we're letting you know. And half the time Twitter said yeah. And the other half, they said no. And it wasn't partisan. It just happens to be, it seems in some cases, if you believe Barry Weiss and Matt Taibbi, that there were more right-wingers who were engaged in this kind of foreign malign actor chicanery on social media than there were left-wing accounts doing it. That's it.
Sure, of course.
Because, cops tend to go where the crime is the idea, in theory. This is the FBI's response to Taibbi right here. And then, of course, this has sicked the right wing loose on Christopher Wray as being one of the most terrible people ever to run the place. By the way, do you remember who put him in charge?
Oh, it's got to be Trump.
Yeah. He fired James Comey. And he specifically put Christopher Wray in there. Here's Matt Taibbi's tweet, number 10 from his original thing. Both parties had access to these tools. He means the ability to take down tweets and stuff, not calling people at Twitter tools, although there's an argument there. For instance, in 2020, requests from both the Trump White House and Biden campaign were received and honored. Yeah, both sides benefiting. There's a big distinction. There's a huge distinction between both of those sides getting their requests honored. Does anybody know, anybody want to figure out what the difference between the Trump White House and the Biden campaign were? What was the difference? Right? What was the difference? Well, I'll tell you. One, was in charge of the federal government.
Uh-huh.
And the other was not. The other had no material power to affect your rights any more than any other citizen in the country had. And again, if you had a spoof account saying that Coca-Cola was full of arsenic and Coca-Cola called up and said, hey, can you take this account down? They're lying about our product and this is libelous and gross and we're seeing if we can sue them, but they may not even be in the country. If Twitter takes it down, they're not coordinating with Big Soda to deny you your free speech rights. You putz. So, other than that, I have no opinion. We got to take a break. We'll be back after this. Philip Ittner will be joining us. And he's sideways. I don't know why he's sideways, but it's fascinating. He's you'll see what I mean. We'll be back right after this.
Okay, wait.